Next to last, Rishanne Golden. Thank you for being with us today. Please proceed.
Chairman Lips, Vice Chair Holmes, Ranking Member Russo, and honorable members of the House Health Committee, thank you for the privilege to provide verbal proponent testimony on House Bill 248. My name is Rishanne Golden, and I speak for myself and my family who are in favor of the Freedom House Bill 248 because it protects our unalienable, God-endowed rights, also protected by the U.S. Constitution. I'm a wife, a mother of 2 daughters, a successful small business owner of 27 years, tragically impacted by the governor's handling of COVID, and recently became a certified natural health practitioner while continuing my studies to soon practice as a naturopath. The constant fear-mongering and removal of personal freedoms has struck our heart deeply since my husband and I lost our beautiful daughter, Haley, on November 6, 2018, as a result of a vaccine-induced grand mal seizure from the recommended meningococcal vaccine. And may I please, this is my daughter, Haley. Horrifically, it took my own grave illness and our daughter's vaccine injury for me, my husband, and Haley's only sibling to learn health cannot be found in a needle, but in fact, our Creator has provided immensely. Nevertheless, as it written in 1 Timothy 6:10, the love of money is the root of all evil. My family has become informed and educated to the many pitfalls of allopathic models and the vast array of myths surrounding the countless liability-free products touted as safe and effective. We have learned that these false promises are nothing more than a deceptive slogan brought to the public by those who financially benefit or seek to satisfy an agenda. For the record, we do believe allopathic medicine and some therapeutics have a place, a purpose, and we are immensely grateful for the miracles of some modern-day procedures and medicines. At the World Health Organization Safety Summit in 2019, it was stated and confirmed by countless doctors that medical professionals are given less than half-a-day training in vaccines, but instead are instructed to follow the CDC schedule, exposing that most know extremely little regarding the neurotoxic preservatives, adjuvants, and stablers, such as aborted fetal cells and animal cells, aluminum, thimerosal or mercury, formaldehyde, and glyphosate, just to list a few. Admittedly, many professionals are unfamiliar with VAERS, the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, yet some are rewarded financially for fully vaccinating patients with these liability-free products, which have never undergone double-blind, inert placebo safety studies, nor have they been tested for synergistically with a variety of ingredients or in combination with other vaccines. Never were my husband and I informed of an adverse event that could express as arthritis, diabetes, asthma, allergies, eczema, seizures, Guillain-Barré syndrome, cardiomyopathy, nervous and gastro disorders, along with many other ailments, including death, all noted on a vaccine insert never provided to our family. Never were we told that meningococcal disease is caused by a bacterium called Neisseria meningitis that has 13 strains designated by letters A, B, C, W135, and Y, or that in Ohio, 6.6% of children receiving the liability-free products experience serious adverse events such as a life-threatening illness, hospitalization, permanent disability, and or death, opposed to 0.000026% of those who actually contract meningococcal disease. The liability-free products cover only 4 strains, A, C, W, and Y, and they do not protect against meningitis. And approximately 99.99% of Ohio children will never see these strains. Therefore, the risk of receiving these vaccines are far greater than receiving the advertised benefit. In supporting documentation, vaccination may in fact raise the risk of meningitis. Barbara Lowe Fisher, the co-founder of the National Vaccine Information Center, has stated that Neisseria meningococcal is only associated with about 14 to 3,000 cases of meningitis per year in the United States out of 308 million Americans, and that 1/3 to 1/2 of cases of Neisseria meningococcal disease are caused by strain B, and that strain is not in the vaccine. When speaking about VAERS in my recent interview with Dr. Andy Wakefield, he stated that for every life saved from meningococcus, 7 children were killed from the vaccine. And that wouldn't have included Haley because she succumbed sometime out from a complication of the complication, in his words. Not only did Haley's pediatrician not report Haley's seizures, advise us of or report to VAERS Haley's medically documented allergies, asthma, eczema, or her death, all federally mandated, but each of these adverse events, as listed on vaccine inserts, all unbeknownst to us. The reality is my husband and I were never provided informed consent, because if so, we would have never opted for any liability-free product connected with an adverse event, all of which caused our daughter's death. As of June 1st, 2021, almost $4.6 billion of taxpayer money have been paid out to less than 5% of the vaccine cases ever to reach the vaccine court, or to the less than 1% of injuries or deaths that are actually reported. Minuscule fractions receive any payout, and 51% of the claims take 5+ years to adjudicate, with manufacturers and doctors given full indemnity, while it's the victims and the family who bear the inflicted hardship and immense pain. Under the False Claims Act, the pharmaceutical industry is the biggest defrauder of the federal government, and according to the 14th Amendment, parents have the right to parent their children, including medical decisions, without state intervention, and the legal classification of vaccines, according to the U.S. Supreme Court, is that they are unavoidably unsafe. To our family and countless others with injured and dead children and loved ones, this Freedom Bill remains critically paramount to the preservation of our rights and enables us to direct our own health care decisions, remain free from coercion, discrimination, while having access to employment, education, public accommodations, commerce, and the ability to participate in a free society without having concern of having our God-given rights stripped away, the God-given rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and any such opposition would be in violation of God's law and the U.S. Constitution. Are you aware that every 2 hours, another child suffers a seizure from the MMR vaccine? According to the physicians of informed consent, quote, there is a 5-fold higher risk of seizures from the MMR vaccine than from the measles infection, and MMR has not been proven to be safer than measles, says Dr. Shira Miller. And he further states it's imperative that parents and healthcare providers know the data, as a significant portion of febrile seizure cases result in epilepsy, a debilitating and life-threatening chronic condition. The Center for Biological Evaluation and Research has acknowledged repeatedly that creating an antibody response or the measurement to the effectiveness of a vaccine has absolutely nothing to do with protecting the person from the disease. Understanding poliomyelitis, aseptic meningitis, and the relationship of DDT and arsenic, known to cause anterior horn spinal cord disease, which mimics poliomyelitis, is related to the rise and fall of polio from 1943 to 1957, when DDT and arsenic were being liberally sprayed for mosquitoes and all around children in swimming pools and school cafeterias. Polio symptoms can occur from a group of 7 to 8 viruses, and poliomyelitis have a very low incident rate. The cause of paralysis is not always known. Prior to the vaccine, for hospitals to receive their subsidies, cases were inflated, with anyone able to diagnose by conducting 2 exams 24 hours apart, finding 1 or more muscle groups with paralysis. But following the vaccine, the diagnosing standards were radically changed, thus lowering the polio cases and claiming false victory for the manufacturers. Doctors not influenced by pharmaceutical companies know the standards by which poliomyelitis and aseptic meningitis were being reported, relabeled, and redefined, all conveniently coinciding with the introduction of the vaccine. Dr. Jonas Salk, the developer of the polio vaccine, testified in 1977 that an insufficiently killed virus in the mass inoculation of 100 million children was the cause of most polio. It was also discovered that these vaccines were contaminated with the simian virus from Ricci monkey kidney cells, later cultured by independent labs across the world and found to be in the bone, brain, and lung cancers of children and adults. And still today, the U.S. government has refused to address this. It is exceedingly important to note our history, since many prestigious scientists and doctors who came forward lost their grant monies, they lost their careers, and they were demonized and trashed in the media, and today is no different. As parents, we have witnessed our children's injuries and our deaths, and we too are vilified, ridiculed, and censored for protecting our children against a domestic enemy, as have a large number of today's doctors and scientists who courageously speak truth while even some mysteriously lose their lives. In conclusion, many believe that trust is earned, but clearly, as history has shown from these many experiments conducted on a people, some I have no time to mention, and the fact that every vaccine maker has been found guilty of fraud leads anyone to rightly question the integrity or motives of the many government agencies. Our blind trust in a practice in the CDC schedule caused our daughter much pain, suffering, and ultimately took Haley's vibrant life and left our family with agony we will live with until our last breath. And so I respectfully ask each of you to support the Vaccine Choice Anti-Discrimination Act, and submitted with my testimony are supporting documents, research like the Flexner Report, the publicly funded studies, vaxxed versus unvaxxed, since the government refuses to do them, documentation showing that the FDA knowingly exceeds their own aluminum safety standards, and therefore young children today, days at a time, live in aluminum toxicity when adhering to the recommended CDC schedule. Thank you so much for your time, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Ms. Golden, thank you for being here and sharing your personal family history. Committee questions? Representative Gross.
Chairman Lips to Mrs. Golden, thank you so much for being here. And I'm so sorry about Haley.
Thank you.
When you went in to see your pediatrician and they recommended that you get the meningitis vaccine, did the college that she chose to attend require that vaccine to attend the school?
Through the chair, please, Representative Gross. The school, we were ignorant, to answer your question. We did not know the formal answer is no. This university that she went to did not require it. We thought that they required it because, as has been stated earlier, high schools and schools are often told that they're the law, but you're never told that you have exemptions. So we were quite naive, and that cost us a lot. But it was the reason that we did it was because we always vaccinated our children because we trusted. We thought that they provided health. We never questioned it. Actually, the only one that I ever questioned, I guess it would be about 15 years ago, was the HPV because it was new. But I was sadly mistaken in thinking because it was new, it was safe, and all the other ones had been tested for years at a time, which couldn't be farther from the truth. So to answer your question, no, the university did not require it, although we believed that it was the requirement. And our pediatrician, because she was going to the University of Cincinnati, it's considered a very large university, her words were highly recommended it.
Chairman Lips to Mrs. Golden, if you had had a full consent given to you, do you think it would have changed your mind? Because being a pro-vaxxer myself, I don't think that it would have. And so I have to ask the hard question, because one of the arguments that the 90 Goliaths that are opposing this bill, they say that if we educate parents, that we will make the world unsafe. And that if we educate parents, who should be making, my argument would be, healthcare decisions for their children, whether it's pro-vaccination or not vaccinating. Would that have changed your trajectory either way?
Through the chair, please. Representative Gross, thank you for asking that question, because for me, it's multifaceted. For me, it would have absolutely changed it. And the reason I can tell you that is because I've had my own personal experience with allopathic medicine, and knowing what I've read in just, you have to understand, just 3 years or so, maybe 4, I would have never stepped into a well-check visit, which is the very reason that I'm studying natural medicine and the very reason that I say that God's provided immensely. I believe that if the government or the agencies were truly concerned about health, there would be real focus on nutrition instead of our schools being laden with sugar and glyphosate-ridden kinds of foods. Our hospitals wouldn't serve our sick. Sometimes sugar-laden foods. I know there's like protein drinks. I mean, if you read the first 3 ingredients are sugar, and sugar is it's like a carcinogen, really, to our bodies. And I know I'm getting a little off topic, but I know for a fact, and I don't say that just to suit my need, I know for a fact, and that's the reason that I'll be 58 years old. I'm changing careers after 27 years of owning a business. So this is important to me because not only is it important that I'm my daughter's voice and that I stand to protect my older daughter against what's happening today in our world, but I want to be part of the change. And back to Representative Lip's comment, this is about a freedom bill, so I absolutely respect the right for someone else to choose. But I would like the same reciprocal right in the right to choose what is best for my body and my family. Thank you.
Committee, additional questions or comments for our witness? Ms. Golden, thank you for being here and sharing a very difficult story. I wanted to just point out that you and I have communicated through social media several times, and I wanted to thank you for how you approach this issue. You have the right to be shook up as much as anyone in this room for what you've suffered, and yet you've communicated through an educational process that has been kind and giving. I typically tell people it's tough to influence a state rep by hitting them in the head with a brick, and you haven't got your brick out. So I think the way you've worked with me has been very effective. So I wanted to thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.